Good evening and welcome to West Essex Middle School for our 7th grade parent night for the school year 2020-2021. I am your very proud principal, Gina Dunleavy. Before I begin our program this evening, I do want to just let everyone know that we're working extremely hard to get our buildings ready for your child's safe return. We want absolutely nothing more than the opportunity to meet our new 7th graders face to face, and we so look forward to doing that on October 5th. Our goal for this evening is to welcome all of you to the West Essex family and outline our guiding principles. We will discuss our middle school philosophy and virtual instruction, and then I will turn it over to my wonderful team of individuals, Mrs. Davis, Mrs. Lebline, and Mrs. Lamberdozzi. 3 of our counselors here on our team will discuss various aspects of the middle school. Mrs. Logan, our school nurse, will review our medical protocols, especially as they pertain to the COVID-19 pandemic. And our veteran assistant principal, Mrs. Lisa Tambieri, will highlight some building procedures pertaining to attendance and our code of conduct. We hope that by the end of this presentation, you have a better grasp of our expectations and know who to contact with questions. Shifting over to our middle school philosophy. The following statement is contained in our student handbook as well as on our website. I've highlighted the words individual growth because all too often I hear parents compare their child to a neighbor or a peer or perhaps even an older sibling. Please remember that each child is unique and brain development is also a unique process. So please try to avoid comparisons and work with your child from the lens of individual growth. In addition, the middle school is not only aware of the social divide in our country right now, but we believe strongly in teaching our children to love their own individual uniqueness, appreciate the diversity that exists among us, and join together as one school, West Essex Middle School, a place where all students should feel loved, encouraged, and should be nurtured so that they may reach their full potential. West Essex Middle School strives for academic excellence, but we also remain committed to educating the whole child. What that means is that we are equally concerned with the social and emotional well-being of our students. Studies show us that our students must feel safe and connected before their brains are actually capable of learning new concepts. For this reason, we talk in great lengths about activities such as transitioning students back into the building, performing wellness calls like we did last spring, and effective counseling services. Please know that our entire team is dedicated to this mission. Here at West Essex Middle School, we value the team approach. Data collected throughout the district supports the team model, as does the New Jersey Association for Middle Level Education. As highlighted above, each team consists of 1 teacher from each content area, plus the grade level counselor. The benefit of the team model is that all of the teachers on a given team share the same students, so they are able to better support their students academically, socially, and emotionally. Teams are given letter names, A, B, and C. So the 7th grade would have a team 7A, a team 7B, and a team 7C. We also have 8th grade teams, 8A, 8B, and 8C. Please know that the letters have no meaning other than to reference a group of individuals. During team meetings, teachers focus on kids, curriculum, and professional development. They discuss best instructional practices, review assessments, track academic and behavioral progress, communicate with families, and most importantly, celebrate student accomplishments. If you as a parent have questions or concerns with your child, one of your first steps is to reach out to your child's guidance counselor. If you have questions or concerns regarding a specific course, the best point of contact is your child's teacher. Teachers can answer questions about the curriculum as well as detail your child's performance. It's so important for teachers and parents to work together. We also ask that you respect that parent-teacher relationship and always give teachers an opportunity to give their perspective on any given scenario. And as I mentioned previously, your child's guidance counselor is the best contact person when your child is struggling in more than one subject area or perhaps is facing social or emotional challenges. At this time, I'm going to shift to virtual learning. I first would like to begin by identifying some key terms. This was included in my daily calendar, but I think it's important to review here this evening. Virtual learning is essentially any learning that can be completed from home. However, with the complexities of the COVID-19 pandemic, virtual learning has many variations. I will define these key terms with regard to how they are being used and implemented within the West Essex School District. When we use the term distance learning, we are referring to virtual learning that occurs while the school building remains closed. The district is implementing the distance learning model from September 8th, the first day of school, through October 2nd. In addition, our distance learning plan requires all students and staff to work from home on the majority of Wednesdays, so they are labeled as distance learning days as well. Finally, this is the term that would be used if the state or our local health department shut down our school. The in-person hybrid model combines in-person building-based instruction with virtual learning from home. This model was designed to allow for adequate social distancing and a phased approach that will gradually increase the percentage of students in the building at one time. As of October 5th, the district plans to shift from the distance learning model to our in-person hybrid model that allows for approximately 33% of our students to arrive each day for in-person learning, while the remaining 2/3 of the population would work from home. The students arriving each day are determined by the assigned color cohorts, red, blue, and green. Please refer to the daily calendar for the cohort rotation. Finally, full-time remote refers to families who have chosen not to send their child to school for in-person instruction. The full-time option is per marking period, so families that want to opt back to the in-person hybrid should notify me in late October prior to the start of marking period 2. Key terms: length of the school day. When we talk about the length of the school day, we have two options: a full day that serves lunch, or a single day, single session half day that does not provide lunch. This was easy to understand in past years because the single session referred to days such as the day before Thanksgiving recess when school dismissed early. But now things are a little bit more complicated. Our distance learning model follows a full day of classes, where a lunchtime, although from home, is allotted in the middle of the day. Our in-person hybrid model, operating under a phased approach, initially would be a single session day that does not include lunch. We hope that over time we will shift phases and eventually have the ability to move to a full day that does provide lunch. When our students are looking at the daily bell schedule, it is important that they identify the schedule that refers to the correct length of the school day. The middle school operates under two different bell schedules. The all classes meet means that students will attend all 8 of their courses on a given day. This schedule is typically used on the first day of school as well as the last day of the first semester. On a side note, there are 4 marking periods for grades and academics, such as cycle classes. A semester combines 2 marking periods. So the fall semester consists of marking periods 1 and 2, while the spring semester refers to marking periods 3 and 4. The rotating drop schedule is our primary bell schedule, and it allows our students to attend 6 of their 8 classes each day. Students will have 4 scheduled courses in the morning that rotate so that only 3 meet on a given day. And the same is true in the afternoon. There's 4 classes scheduled in the afternoon, but only 3 of the 4 meet on any given day. This next slide demonstrates our 2 different bell schedules. The all classes meet for distance learning, and again, these bell schedules are only for distance learning. So from now until October 2nd, these bell schedules are relevant. The all classes meet is the first schedule, and you can see all 8 classes meet. The schedule to the right is the rotating drop schedule. On a day, a letter A day, the morning classes will consist of periods 1, 2, and 3, a break for lunch, and 5, 6, and 7. On a B day, period 4 meets in the first block, and the rotation is 4-1-2. Period 3 drops on a B day, so students would not attend their third period class on a B day. The same is true in the afternoon. The order is period 8, then period 5, then period 6. Period 7 also drops on a B day. From a broad perspective, I believe this list outlines the key ingredients to success. First, maintaining routines are critical. While the spring was unstructured for many, this year teachers will take attendance each period of the day, regardless of whether it's in person or distance learning. So again, teachers will be taking a bi-period attendance, which is taking attendance in each period of the day. And students are expected to abide by our dress code policy. So both of these items provide structure throughout the school day. But we also encourage you to provide similar structure at home with bedtimes and allotted times to unplug from technology. As many of you know, video cameras are also required to be turned on so that teachers can monitor students' emotional well-being and demeanor on any given day. But the monitors also assist in identifying students' level of engagement with the content. In the teaching world, we call this formative assessment. In middle school, we are also teaching our students to self-advocate, to ask for help when they need it, whether they need extra help with a teacher or a listening ear with one of our counselors. Students must learn to advocate for themselves over the course of the next 2 years. As parents, you can help this process by encouraging your child to email a teacher or a counselor, or perhaps even me or Mrs. Tamburi for assistance. Our middle school students often find that email is a little bit easier because it takes away the awkwardness of an in-person conversation. We encourage all of our students to join an extracurricular activity, such as sports and clubs, most of which will operate in person or remotely. These activities allow our students from 4 sending districts to come together and unite as one team, the Knights. Information regarding our extracurricular opportunities will be coming within the next few weeks. And finally, we have a motto here at the middle school: work hard and be nice. And I think that sums it up exactly the way it is. So as I conclude my portion of this evening's program, I want to again welcome you all to West Essex Middle School and remind you that our team is committed to providing your child with the best educational experience possible. Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome to our parent night. My name is Mrs. Carly Crescia-Benny Davis, and this school year I will be the 8th grade school counselor. We also have 2 other counselors in our West Essex Middle School department. We have Mrs. Michelle Lamberdosi, who is the 7th grade school counselor this school year, and also Miss Dana Lebline, who is our student assistance counselor. Tonight I will be talking to you about our counseling services as well as your middle schoolers' perspective and some things that you can possibly expect from them in middle school. So, as we all know, we've all been through adolescence and through middle school. Adolescence is certainly a unique time. There's many changes that happen during adolescence, and typically you may see the following concerns from your middle school child. One of the biggest concerns that we often see from students is making new friends and connecting with the peer group. During middle school, children tend to place a larger emphasis on their peer relationships as they start to become a little bit more independent from their parents. And you may see that instead of kind of seeking out a parent for advice, they're going to rely on their friends for that advice. And the same for, any type of kind of problem solving situations that they may typically have gone to a parent for. We see typically in adolescence that shift more to the peer group. And I'm really sorry about this next one, but this leads into the next one that you may see from your child being embarrassed by parents in front of other kids. So you may have already heard, Mom, you can't hug me anymore in front of my friends, or Dad, why did you say that joke that was so not funny in front of my friends? And again, this is really because they put such a large emphasis on what their peers think and that connection with their friends. Something else that we often see in middle school is students comparing themselves to their peers. Social media certainly plays a large part in this. It's also really important to note as a parent not to compare your child to your friend's child, especially during an adolescence, because everyone's growing at different rates. And along with comparing themselves to their peers, it also typically leads to a pressure to succeed. So oftentimes students feel pressure to succeed, whether it's academically, socially, athletically, musically. And again, this often comes from comparing themselves to their friends and other classmates. Something else that you may see from your middle schooler is feeling overwhelmed and overscheduled. And I know that our schedules have become a little bit lighter with all that's going on with the pandemic. However, in typical times, many adults feel very overscheduled. So imagine how your middle schooler feels going to school, dealing with a new transition, making new friends, meeting new peers from other towns, having homework, all types of extracurricular activities after school. So with that definitely comes a sense of overwhelmingness, especially all that's going on now with the pandemic and a lot of things being kind of out of our control and the unknown. That certainly can add to that overwhelmingness feeling. Something else that middle schoolers are certainly concerned about is having girlfriends and boyfriends. We often see sometimes those feelings start to spark up in middle school. Finding someone to sit with at lunch is also a concern of our middle schoolers. I know they may not have to have that worry right at the beginning of our school year, but eventually when we do have lunch, that's often a worry. Typically, we do mix it up lunches with our incoming 7th graders, where we basically assign them a seat in the cafeteria. So it kind of alleviates that anxiety of where and who they're going to sit with. And they can just focus on kind of getting to know some other students. And after a week or so, we allow them to sit with other peers. And then another thing is feeling self-conscious. So often in a middle schooler's mind, they think that everybody maybe is looking at them or know what had happened with a friend. So we often see them being self-conscious. So as the West Essex Middle School Guidance Team, we're here to help in a variety of ways. Two of the biggest ways that we're here to help is to provide social support and also emotional support to your child. So we're here to help them navigate friendships, maybe brainstorm some ideas to a problem that they have with a friend. We're also here to teach them appropriate social media use. We teach programs to teach inclusion and kindness. We're also here for emotional support, for stress management. This is probably the biggest support that we provide, because typically we see students when they're kind of in that state of panic, and we really help calm them down. We provide a safe space for them, and we provide them strategies to help them to deal with that stress. We also run a program called Mindful Mondays. There will be more information coming out about that program, but we teach students mindfulness techniques to kind of keep them in the moment and grounded, and again, help with that stress. And we also teach students coping skills so they can be independent and learn all types of strategies to help them problem solve when they're in situations. We also provide academic support. So it's really important to know, as far as organization goes, it's very normal for a middle school child to not have mastered organizational skills yet. So that is something that as counselors, we certainly help our students with getting organized, whether it's in the virtual or the in-person world. We can certainly help with that. Also helping set some homework routines, providing all different types of study strategies, test-taking strategies, and of course, time management is always a big one, kind of how to manage their schoolwork along with extracurricular activities and their various other responsibilities. So that's the way that we are here to help at West Essex Middle School as counselors. And there's a way that you can help as parents as well. You're a big piece of the puzzle. We definitely include you as a part of our team here at West Essex to help your child flourish while they're at the middle school. So one of the biggest pieces of advice that we can give to you for your middle school child is to communicate openly with your child. So it's always important to have that meaningful dialogue, asking how your child's day went, and just continuing to keep those lines of communication open. It's also really important to set aside time for homework and review. That structure is key. So helping them kind of develop that after school routine with homework, and again, setting that structure is very helpful. The next one is really, really important, allowing your child to make mistakes. The biggest thing about middle school is we want them to learn from their mistakes and to learn and thrive. And the only way that they're going to learn from their mistakes is if we allow that to sometimes happen. We certainly don't judge students for their mistakes. We know that they're middle school students. So, allowing them to sometimes make those mistakes so they can learn those critical problem solving skills is important. Using positive reinforcement goes a long way with middle schoolers. So, knowing what they do well and rewarding them for that. The next one is encouraging self-advocacy. We love to hear from parents, but we really love to hear from students as well. So if they have, maybe an issue in class or they want to come see one of the counselors, encouraging them to reach out to their teacher or counselor is always a great way to build that self-advocacy skill. And the next one is to stay educated on social media trends and also to limit their usage. So it's really important as a parent to kind of keep on top of what the new social media they're using and is it appropriate and who they're interacting with on those platforms. I know that's a difficult task, but it's an important one. And the last one is stressing the importance of all the different types of supports that we offer here at West Essex Middle School. So whether it's clubs or after school help with the teacher, that's definitely a way to bridge the gap between home and school as well. So we look forward to getting to know all of your children this school year. And as the counseling department, we're here to help in any way that we can. And we are definitely a go-to resource for you and your children. And we look forward to the school year.
Good evening and welcome to West Essex Middle School. Thank you for coming out tonight to see where your children will be for the next 2 years. My name is Dana Lebline. I'm the Student Assistance Counselor here at West Essex Middle School, and I have a unique position. I work very closely with the guidance team. I am part of the guidance team, and we all work collaboratively to ensure that not only the academic success of the students, but the social emotional needs are met as well. I see students throughout the day with issues ranging from transition to middle school, friendship concerns, test anxiety, an array of issues. I also see students that have more serious issues. As we know, mental health is on the rise now. Anxiety, depression are pretty prevalent amongst middle school students. I am a licensed therapist. I do have a lot of experience working with these issues. I tell my students when they come in, there's no issue too small or too big, and we can work through it. Learning how to cope and work through the problems is really what will ultimately make them successful in life. I am also the 504 coordinator here at West Essex. So if a student has a diagnosis or any special concerns, we put a plan in place that allows them extra accommodations in the classroom or throughout the school day to help them be more successful. I enjoy my job. I'm so happy to be part of the West Essex community, as I feel they go way above and beyond to ensure the needs of every student. Your children will have a great experience here at West Essex Middle School. I would also encourage you to reach out to me if you're concerned about anything. I'm more than happy to hear from the parents as well as the students. Thank you and have a great 2 years.
Hi, everyone, and good evening. I'm Mrs. Michelle Lombardozzi. I'm the 7th grade school counselor. I have the opportunity of just kind of running through some tips and tricks for success, whether it's in-person education or virtual learning for this year. So just starting off with the basics, getting into a nightly routine of charging the Chromebook is just going to be a good habit to set them up for success for each day. Then we always have students ask us about using a mouse for their Chromebook. It is not required. However, most tend to prefer it. They prefer the wireless ones. Just makes it a little bit easier for navigation. When it comes to printing, it's going to be limited access this year in the library for students to use the printer and copier. However, most assignments, submissions, grading is all going to be through Google Classroom, so not as much as previous years. We are requiring earbuds. Not only do we think it's an advantage at home to just eliminate distractions, whether they're in school, there might be certain activities or tasks which will require students to listen to a video of some sort. So they are required for this coming year. Cases are recommended for obvious reasons. Whether you're traveling back and forth, things happen, and I'll get to what happens if your Chromebook gets damaged in a later slide, but they are recommended just to keep it safe. If something gets damaged, then they're not ready to go for the next day. So that causes some stress. And then last is going to be the student IDs. So each student will be issued an ID. They're going to use it for printing, for checking out books, and for the attendance office, and especially for that contactless process. It's really important for this coming year. For the students, accessing homework and their assignments and submissions will all be through Google Classroom. There is a slide on our go-to guide this year that kind of talks them through certain pointers to use, but most of them are familiar from their elementary schools from past years. For parents, the West Essex website and their teacher websites are going to be very useful. They have their calendars, their assignments, their curriculum on there, because sometimes it's hard for parents to access Google Classroom without the West Essex email. Genesis is the last thing that's really important. So there's a student portal where they could see their grades, which is what most students care about. And then the parent portal, same thing. You get your busing, you get your cohorts, you get your grading, you get attendance. A lot of teachers tend to put comments in for each assignment too. So that gives you some insight as to why your student or child received the grade they received. Missing assignments go in. Every teacher kind of does it a little bit different. It's a great communication tool for Genesis. So a lot of times students will get very upset if they see a 0 or a missing assignment. But if they were absent, there might be an opportunity to turn it in. So we do recommend, following the protocols that the teachers outline at the beginning of each year. Chromebook repair if the student is in school. So they will be given time to go to the library to give in their Chromebook. They will get a loaner, and they will receive a loaner with the use of a charger. So if they're in school, the library is going to be their hub. If they are not in school, their first step is to email tech@westex.org. And then whoever is responsible at that point in time will kind of walk you through the steps on how to best get your Chromebook to school to get you a way to fix it. First, damage is free of charge, no questions asked. Anything after that might require some type of fee. So hopefully that gives everybody a little bit of an update going into this year. Thank you.
Hi, this is Denise Logan. I am this middle school nurse, and I'd like to introduce myself. And I want to tell you just a little bit about what goes on in the school nurse's office. So we will start with, if your child is ill, I will call you from the nurse's office. One thing that I want to encourage is please do not let your child call or text you. It's important. I know that sometimes it's an emergency for them, but it's better if they come to me and I can help them and we can work through everything together. I will perform a thorough nursing assessment with your child to identify any medical concerns. And if your child needs to go home, they will be picked up in the back of the building, not in the front, because my office is now in the back, and privacy will be maintained. And of course, depending on the circumstances, a medical note may be required if they need to return to school. If your child doesn't feel well in the morning and you have any concerns, please allow them to stay home and monitor them for the day. If they feel well enough to attend virtual learning that day, then when you call into the attendance office, you can mention that they will be staying home but doing a virtual day. If your child has any medical concerns such as allergies, asthma, diabetes, seizure disorders, please make sure that I have received all the proper medical forms. If your child needs medication during the school day, medication forms will also need to be filled out by your physician. These forms can be found on the district website under Parents and Community, and you will see School Nurse. You can click on that, and you will see all of our forms. Please feel free to call me anytime to discuss any health concerns you have. I am here to help because if they're healthy, they will learn. So don't hesitate to call me at any time. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. 7th graders, welcome to West Essex Middle School, and 8th graders, welcome back. My name is Mrs. Dominic. I'm an administrative assistant in the attendance office. You will stop by my office when you are coming in late or leaving early. We can't wait to have you back in the building. I wish you all a great start to the school year.
Good evening. I am Lisa Tambury, the assistant principal here at West Essex Middle School, and I welcome all of you. I'm here to speak to you all about the building procedures here at the middle school. On attendance, reporting an absence, please call the attendance office. It's very important that you do so we can record accurately in our student information system. Tardiness. If your child happens to arrive here late to school, the child will report directly to my office, which is the attendance office, and we will call into the teacher and let them know that the child is here and on their way up to the classroom. If your child has an early dismissal, the child must bring a note to my attendance office before they start the day, and that note should include the date, the reason why, and a parent's signature. In any case, you have an emergency and you need to contact your child, always call the main office. Visitation. With visitation, we have limited access to the building at this time. If you are invited to the school by appointment, the following procedures must be followed. You must park in the visitor spot. You must bring a valid driver's license. You cannot park your car along the curb since it's the fire lanes. And ring the bell and someone will buzz you in upon answering several questions. And once you are here, there is a security procedure where you will carry a photo ID with you or a visitor pass in order to be allowed to walk to another room in the building. If your child forgets something, we always do, even us as adults sometimes forget something. Let's encourage our children to become more independent, and we're here to help them do that. But sometimes the best way is not to drop off the item that they forgot, but sometimes they may really need it. So in doing so, please do not call or text your child. I know that we're very prone to do something like that, and we understand. I do the same with my own children, but we want our children to be a little bit responsible. So at this time, we would ask you not to text them throughout the school day while they're in class. You're more than welcome to drop off the items, place the items in a box that is outside the main office. They're containers labeled 7th grade and 8th grade. Make sure that it's labeled properly with your child's first and last name. Those containers are always cleaned and emptied regularly. Discipline. These are the wonder years, and students make choices, good choices and bad choices. Our student handbook has a detailed procedures of code of conduct. We contain levels of discipline. We also have the outlining procedures regarding harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Teachers do assign discipline for various infractions that could occur in their classroom. Students will always be notified 24 hours before a detention or some type of discipline that may need to address. But at this time, keep in mind, students do sometimes make poor choices, and that's okay. And sometimes they learn from those poor choices. So we're here to guide them. Dress code. Well, in this new world of remote learning and distance learning and being in the building, the dress code still follows. We accept no hats, no pajamas or sleepwear, no inappropriate graphic tees or those inappropriate icons, no tube tops, no spaghetti straps, and no belly shirts. We wanted the students to dress comfortably, but at the same time, appropriately. Like I always say, there's school wear and there's weekend wear. So they can make that decision. We just hope that they make the right one. The next slide basically shares the phone numbers and the contact names for the people in the various offices. So this is something that you can use and refer to as needed throughout your years here at West Essex Middle School. Thank you. We appreciate all that you do, and we are looking forward to meeting all of you sometime really soon. And welcome to West Essex Middle School. Go Knights, and have a great evening.
That concludes this evening's program. We again want to welcome each and every one of you to the West Essex family, and we look forward to watching all of our children achieve great success this year. Thank you and have a good night.